A transmission replacement costs between $4,000 and $8,000, sometimes more. And the terrifying part, most people destroy their own transmission without ever realizing it. Not from off-roading, not from towing too much, from everyday habits they have been doing since the day they drove off the lot. Today, I am breaking down the 13 things you should absolutely never do in an automatic SUV, because number 7 alone has sent thousands of drivers straight to the dealership with a $6,000 repair bill they never saw coming. Number 13, never shift into park before the SUV fully stops. This sounds obvious. You would think nobody does this, and yet it is one of the most common transmission killers on the road. When you throw your selector into park before you have come to a complete stop, a metal locking pin slams into a rotating parking gear. That gear is not designed to absorb moving weight. In a heavy SUV, we are talking 4,500 to 6,000 pounds. You are smashing that pin with enormous force every single time. Do it enough times, and the parking pall cracks or breaks entirely. Now, your SUV will not hold in park, or worse, the internal damage cascades into the rest of your transmission. One mechanic in Phoenix posted a thread documenting a 2022 Chevy Tahoe with 28,000 miles with a completely shattered parking pall. The owner's habit was always shifting to park just before the vehicle stopped completely. The repair cost $4,200. Always come to a full and complete stop before touching that park button. Number 12. Never use park instead of your emergency brake on a hill. If you're parking on any kind of slope and relying purely on park to hold your SUV, you're putting all that pressure on one tiny metal pin. That's it. One pin holding thousands of pounds of truck. Gravity does not care. What you should be doing is this: stop the vehicle, apply the emergency brake first, then shift into park. That way, the emergency brake carries the load, and the parking pall is just a backup. Do it the other way: park first, then emergency brake, and your entire drivetrain weight rests on that pin. Over time, the locking mechanism wears and bends. This is especially brutal for Ford Explorers, GMC Acadias, and Jeep Grand Cherokees, which owners routinely park on driveways with even the slightest incline. Number 11, never rev the engine before the transmission warms up. Transmission fluid is everything. It's the lifeblood of your automatic. Cold fluid is thick, and it does not lubricate the way it should. When you fire up a cold engine and immediately start pushing revs before that fluid has a chance to circulate and reach operating temperature, you are running metal parts against metal parts with inadequate lubrication. Think of it like running on a treadmill the second you wake up 3 in the morning. Your body isn't ready. Neither is your transmission. Mechanics recommend letting the engine idle for at least 60 to 90 seconds in cold weather before putting any real load on the drivetrain. This is especially critical for Subaru Outbacks, Hyundai Santa Fe's, and any SUV with a CVT, because CVTs are already more sensitive to heat and cold than traditional automatics. Number 10. Never put your SUV in neutral at a red light. People do this thinking they are saving fuel or reducing wear. They are doing the opposite. When you shift into neutral at a light, then back into drive when traffic moves, you force the transmission to re-engage under load repeatedly. Each time that happens, there is a jolt through the drivetrain, small but cumulative. Over tens of thousands of cycles across the life of the vehicle, that constant re-engagement accelerates clutch pack wear. The correct move? Leave it in drive with your foot on the brake. Modern automatic transmissions are designed exactly for this. They have a torque converter lockup that disengages the drivetrain at idle. Sitting in drive at a light costs you nothing. Constantly shifting in and out of neutral costs you clutch life. Number 9. Never ignore transmission fluid that smells burnt. Open your hood, pull the transmission dipstick, and smell the fluid. Fresh transmission fluid smells slightly sweet, almost like petroleum candy. If it smells burnt, sharp, and acrid like something is wrong, that is not a minor issue. That is your transmission telling you it has been overheated, or the fluid is so broken down it is no longer protecting the internal components. Burnt fluid means varnish, and debris are already circulating through your valve body, your clutch packs, and your torque converter. Most manufacturers recommend a transmission fluid change somewhere between 30,000 and 60,000 miles. A lot of SUV owners go 100,000 miles without touching it. By then, the fluid is black, the internal parts are worn, and a full flush might actually cause more harm than good, because that degraded fluid was the only thing keeping deteriorated seals from leaking. Change it on schedule. Do not wait for the smell. Number 8, never tow beyond your rated capacity, even once. Every SUV has a tow rating. It is not a suggestion. It is a thermal and mechanical limit. Towing beyond that limit, even for one trip, generates heat inside the transmission that the cooling system was not designed to handle. Transmission fluid breaks down rapidly at temperatures above 200 degrees Fahrenheit. At 250 degrees Fahrenheit, it starts to oxidize. At 300 degrees Fahrenheit, seals fail. Clutch material burns. Your transmission can go from healthy to destroyed in a single overloaded trip. The rating exists for a reason. One owner in Colorado shared his story online. He bought a 2023 Kia Sorento rated for 3,500 pounds. He towed a loaded boat trailer that came in around 4,200 pounds on a single trip up a mountain highway. The transmission started slipping the same day. Full replacement cost $5,800. The dealer confirmed thermal damage from a single overload event. Number 7. Never shift from reverse to drive without stopping. This is the big one, right here. This is the habit that is quietly destroying automatic transmissions across the country, and most people do it every single day without thinking. You pull out of a parking space in reverse, you are still rolling backward, and you slap it into drive. The transmission has to absorb the entire momentum reversal of your SUV's weight by itself. The clutches engage violently. The drivetrain slams. In a lighter sedan, this is bad enough. In a 5,000-pound SUV, you are talking about an enormous amount of force going directly into your clutch packs. Ford dealership service managers have specifically called this out as one of the top causes of early transmission failure in the Explorer and Expedition. The fix is free. Come to a complete stop every single time. Forward to reverse, reverse to forward, complete stop, always. Before we get to the top 6, do me a favor. Hit the like button if this is already changing how you drive. These habits are costing people thousands, and most of them had no idea. Number 6, never use your SUV to push or pull another vehicle out of the mud without understanding the risk. When a friend's car is stuck, the instinct is to hook up a strap and pull them free. Simple, right? Here is what actually happens inside your transmission in that moment. Your automatic is not designed for the sudden, massive torque spike that comes from jerking a stuck vehicle free. The shock load hits the torque converter, the clutch packs, the planetary gear sets all at once. If you are in a half-buried position where your own wheels are spinning and then suddenly catch, the damage multiplies. Transmission cooler lines can rupture from the pressure and internal seals can blow. Toyota 4Runner and Land Cruiser forums are full of posts from owners who pulled stuck vehicles and ended up with transmission problems within days. If you are going to recover a vehicle, use proper recovery equipment, a snatch block, and apply slow, steady tension. Never use a sudden jerk. Number 5. Never let the transmission fluid level get too low. Low transmission fluid is arguably the fastest way to destroy an automatic outside of a direct mechanical failure. Transmission fluid is not just a lubricant, it also transfers power through the torque converter, it operates the hydraulic clutches, and it carries heat away from internal components. Drop the level enough and you get aeration, air bubbles mixing into the fluid. Air does not lubricate. Air does not transfer heat. Air does not operate hydraulics. The system starts surging, the shifts become erratic, and within a short period the temperature spikes past what any component was designed to handle. Unlike engine oil, most modern SUVs do not have a low transmission fluid warning light. By the time you notice something is wrong, the damage is already done. Check it regularly. It matters more than most people realize. Number 4. Never ignore a shudder or hesitation during shifts. Your transmission communicates with you. When it shudders during acceleration between 35 and 50 miles per hour, that is not road texture. When it hesitates going from second to third gear, that is not normal. When the whole vehicle vibrates slightly as the torque converter locks up, that is a symptom. These are early warning signs that something inside is wearing, or that the fluid has deteriorated to the point where it can no longer maintain a proper film between clutch surfaces. The torque converter shudder, that specific vibration at highway speeds, is commonly caused by fluid breakdown or a failing torque converter clutch. Catch it early. It might be a fluid change plus an additive. Ignore it for 10,000 more miles and you are looking at a full converter replacement or worse. The shudder is not going to fix itself. Number 3. Never let your SUV sit in drive while you wait for long periods. Sitting at a long train crossing, waiting in a drive-through line for 20 minutes, idling in traffic that is not moving. While you are sitting there in drive, your transmission is working. The torque converter is spinning fluid and generating heat. If there is any marginal issue with the cooling system, for example, a slightly restricted transmission cooler, low fluid, or a weak cooler line, that idle heat has nowhere to go. Over long idle periods, especially in summer, transmission temperatures can creep up well beyond safe operating ranges without you ever touching the accelerator. If you are going to be stopped for more than a few minutes, put it in neutral. Let the torque converter stop working. Let the system breathe. It is a small change that significantly reduces thermal stress during prolonged stops. Number 2, never skip transmission service because the fluid looks fine. This is one of the most expensive mistakes SUV owners make. Transmission fluid can look perfectly clean and still be completely chemically depleted. The detergents, anti-wear additives, and friction modifiers break down through heat cycles long before the fluid changes color. Your fluid can look amber and translucent while offering almost no protection for the internal components. Some manufacturers have even listed certain transmissions as lifetime fill, meaning they claim the fluid never needs changing. Multiple lawsuits and class action cases have been filed against automakers over that claim because lifetime apparently means the lifetime of the warranty, not the vehicle. Mechanics who actually pull those transmissions apart at 100,000 miles find clutch material, metal particles, and varnish clogging the valve body. Service it, even if it looks fine. Follow the mileage interval in your manual, not the marketing language on the dipstick. Number 1. Never use sport or manual mode for everyday driving in a sport utility vehicle that is not designed for it. Sport mode. Manual paddle shifts. Sequential gear control. These features exist for specific, intentional driving moments, not as a daily commute setting in a 4,800-pound sport utility vehicle. When you leave your automatic in sport all the time, the transmission holds gears longer and runs at higher revolutions per minute more frequently. The friction components inside build heat faster than in normal mode. The fluid degrades quicker. Clutch packs wear more rapidly. In many sport utility vehicles, sport mode is a software-mapped variation rather than a mechanically separate tune, so you are not getting any performance benefit on regular roads. You are just adding heat and wear. Owners who drove their Grand Cherokee, Pilot, or Pathfinder in sport mode every day reported needing transmission service from 20,000 to 30,000 miles earlier than those who drove in standard mode. Save sport mode for when you actually need it. Your transmission will thank you with another 100,000 miles of service life. That's all 13. Your transmission is not invincible, and it is not cheap to replace. But every single mistake on this list is completely avoidable once you know about it. The drivers who get 200,000 miles out of their automatic SUV aren't lucky. They just understand what the transmission needs and what it cannot handle. If this video saved you from a repair bill, hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow. And subscribe with the bell notification on so you do not miss the next one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.